What is up, duelists? Welcome back to another edition of War League Wednesdays, where we do a deep dive into one of the highest impact matches of one of the most competitive GOAT format Yu-Gi-Oh! Events there is, that being, of course, the GOAT format War League. This week, we're going to be moving up to the Blue Conference. We've done a lot of Red Conference matches so far, so I wanted to mix in some stuff from the other side, get you guys exposure to different teams, different players. And we did have one pretty interesting matchup in week 5 with an undefeated team, top of the leaderboard Bomb Squad taking on middle of the pack, but definitely with some solid results so far, the 2-2 record Laus Nova. And importantly, between both of these teams, there are two players that are both in the 3-win column here. You see Jay Harris taking on Gunshotti. Gunshotti here did sit out 1 week, so they are sitting at 3-0 undefeated, have not lost a single match so far this season. Jay Harris did lose to week 1, did lose in week 1, but then has won out since then, 3 straight wins in a row. So it is a battle of who can maintain their win streak here. And then also, some implications for the top leaderboard as well, with Bomb Squad being the top team in the Blue Conference and Laus Nova definitely a contender here with 2 wins. So doing some scouting, both players have played Chaos Turbo every single week, but there are some interesting differences between the two lists. Let's look here. We've got Jay Harris's here first. Interestingly, doing the scouting, I've actually been able to see a full 40 different cards main decked at different points between all 4 weeks. Now, that doesn't mean that Jay Harris isn't tweaking ratios week to week, but these are all 40 cards that I have confirmed were in the main deck at least at one point in one of the 4 weeks. Round 1, Jay Harris was up against Warrior, so we did get to see their side deck plan into that matchup. Pretty standard stuff you would see out of the side, and that is like Zombira, MST, Swords, and the couple Sakuretsus. That's basically kind of confirms there are 2 side deck plans for Chaos Turbo against Warrior. One being this Zombira Battle Trap plan, the other one being the Scapegoat Metamorphosis sort of Chaos Control smokescreen. So it looks like Jay Harris is on the more pure anti-Warrior side decking strategy. Their main deck is pretty heavily pre-sided for Turbo based on what we've seen. Triple Trap Dust Shoot main, as well as a single Minecon in the main. So definitely capable of taking down those Chaos Turbo players, which Jay Harris is undefeated against so far this season. Monster lineup is pretty standard. They are running Knight Assailants, Double Faith, Triple Spy, Double Koichi. All pretty standard Chaos Turbo ratios here. In the Chaos Turbo matches that we did see, they are running at least one Kaiku out of the side, which is pretty common. And interestingly, one match I did see them bring in the 3rd copy of Raigeki Break post-side against Turbo, which is not really a standard play, but is something interesting. And not sure if Gunshotti was scouting that in-depthly, but could be something that changes up some of your math and your back row reads potentially post-side. Now, Gunshotti's list here, remember this is 3 weeks of scouting as they sat out 1 week. Like I said, Chaos Turbo main deck. From what I could see, relatively standard stuff, except for, notably, they were main decking 2 copies of Solemn Judgment. So a little bit more aggressive of a Turbo list here, which makes sense when you see their smokescreen side against Chaos Turbo, where they bring in some crazy Warrior stuff, bringing in Rhoda, bringing in Premature Burial, and bringing in a nice big Warrior package here along with Kaiku. So you'll see Blade Knight, Exiled Force, Mystic Swordsman, Ninja Grandmaster, right? A lot of these cards are definitely probably main decked, so I'll just move those up. Basically, these are almost all guaranteed to be in the main. And then you can see post side, definitely capable of going into this Warrior smokescreen, which is pretty interesting. Makes these main deck Solemn Judgments a little bit better as well, because it's better when you're being aggressive. So, Jay Harris, if you did your scouting properly, you should be prepared for not only just a smokescreen Warrior out of the side, assuming Gunshotti runs Chaos Turbo like they have the first 3 weeks that they played, but I feel like if you're willing to smokescreen into Warrior, you're also probably willing to main deck Warrior. You're probably comfortable playing the deck enough. So Jay Harris definitely can't be lax on the prep here, has to be prepared for 2 of these pretty high impact decks. Let's hop right into the match though, and we'll see what both players are taking. We're going to be watching it from Gunshotti's perspective here. Looks like they won the RPS, and it looks like they are running Chaos Turbo here, so no surprises here, at least in the main deck, but definitely interested to see if they still are on that Warrior smokescreen post side, or if that's just going to be kind of an interesting way to keep Jay Harris on the toes. Solid opening hand here, though, opening Thunder Dragon plus Dust Shoot. The play here is just going to be set Dekoichi, activate Thunder Dragon, set Trap Dust Shoot, and then you can debate whether setting Mirror Force here or not makes sense. I could definitely see just keeping the Mirror Force in hand for now to play around potential Breaker. You do have Trap Dust Shoot to send back the Breaker, but you would probably like to not be forced to send it back, so absent anything that's really forcing you to Mirror Force at this point in time, I'd probably just set the Dust Shoot pass. Definitely setting Mirror Force, though, is totally fine in that scenario as well, though. Yeah, so we'll see that TD fired off. Gonna go set Dust Shoot, set Deco pass. Yep, makes total sense. Jay Harris will draw for turn. Gunshotti will fire off this Dust Shoot, and we'll get to see what Jay Harris brought to the duel here in Week 5. Looks like they are also running their Chaos Turbo list. Pretty solid hand here. Jay Harris did like to main deck Torrential Tribute, so seeing that here, not super surprising, even though it has kind of fallen out of the favor, at least in Turbo main decks, a bit recently. Pretty flip monster heavy hand, and Gunshotti doesn't have any answers to flips at this point in time, so this is a little bit awkward. So I feel like if your play next turn is definitely going to be flip summon Dekoichi, probably try to attack into something. Attacking to Dekoichi is good, attacking to Night Assailant is good, attacking to Sangan is like fine. The only thing would be if you run into the Spy, so I think you just have to send back the Spy here, and then go from there. And yeah, kind of a no-brainer there. Spy will get sent back, and now we know we have to worry about Heavy Storm and Torrential Tribute. Two good cards to know to play around, especially when you got stuff like BLS in hand, and Mirror Force to potentially set. So probably want to bait out that Mirror or that Heavy Storm somehow before you set this Mirror Force, is my guess. Jay Harris has to set one of those three monsters. My guess is they probably just go with the Dekoichi. Could go with the Sangan here to bait stuff out. But we'll see exactly. Gunshotti here. Going to draw Graceful for turn. That's a really insane draw when you have the double TD in hand. So now this set could, I guess, be both of the cards that we saw, right? So you can't rule out Pro Heavy Storm here. That would be something tricky, but not super surprising to see. If they did set Torrential, that probably means that they also set the Sangan along with it. I feel like that's pretty... It's not guaranteed, but it is likely that if you see the Sangan, it's probably the Torrential set. If you see the Torrential, it's probably the Sangan set. That would be my read, but you still have to factor in the other one. We're definitely going to fire off the Graceful Charity here, though. Well, yeah, flip summon Dekoichi first, get the extra card. Makes sense. Knock is really nice. So now you have to think, okay, do we want to knock before we Graceful? I think the answer is probably yes, because if we do hit the Dekoichi or the Night Assailant, I feel like we're pretty happy to thin our deck of those cards before we go for the Graceful. So I would like the knock here. Firing off the Graceful here first is fine, I guess. It's pretty marginal, but I feel like I would love to just get rid of my Dekoichis if that is what Jay Harris set. Drawn to some good stuff, though. Delinquent Duo, Tsukuyomi, and Upstart. Those are three really good cards. Well, two and then an Upstart, right? So I think the play is just discard the Thunder Dragons here. Then you're going to fire off the Delinquent Duo. You want to do this pre-Dust Shoot so that Jay Harris doesn't know exactly what they're going to keep. Could get some intel here on what the back row or the set monster here is as well. Going to hit the Dekoichi, and they're going to discard the Night Assailant and bounce the Dekoichi back to their hand. So we know that this set is Sangan. So actually not the highest value Delinquent Duo you'll ever see. But I still feel like it's probably worth firing off there just to get a little bit more intel at this point in time. And we're so far ahead that we can afford to just trade one for one. It's really actually totally fine. Just simplified the board state, even if we're not getting full value off of the duo. So now that we know that the set is Sangan, like I said before, it makes the back row a little bit more likely to be Torrential here. So I kind of, yeah, you would want to go normal summon Tsukuyomi here, but that's actually a little bit risky because you'll just get 2 for 1, right? So maybe maybe we just Upstart first and go from there. We're gonna knock the Sangan, okay, get in for 14, that's fine. Holding the Upstart, my only thought is if you're main decking MST, it could be really nice to draw it, pop the back row. Like, obviously, odds are low that you find the MST. You could find Heavy Storm as well, though. It's actually two really good cards to find in this scenario off the upstart. So I feel like it's worth just firing it off there on the off chance. Like, there's no point. The 1,000 life isn't going to matter at this point. And in the off chance you hit some back row removal, it's going to be super valuable here, especially to clear the way for the Tsukuyomi Dekoichi stuff. So, interesting play there. I think we definitely fire off the upstart now. Now we're going to go set the Mirror Force pass, and we're holding upstart. I am personally not a huge fan of hold upstart a lot of the time. I feel like often people just get a little bit too tricky. But I guess I don't know. Seems a little bit strange. I feel like there's a lot of good stuff you could draw into. There's still pot left in deck. Still like actual back row that you would actually want to play here, for example. Right? Like, I think that the value of being able to clear out this back row to go for the Souk Loop is so strong that there's a lot of upside to playing upstart here. But alas. You'd also find yourself like another flip monster, which could be good, right? Jay Harris here, though. Gonna go set a monster pass, okay. So we know they still had Dekoichi in hand, so pretty likely that it's that. We're going to draw a Jar of Greed for a turn, which is pretty slow. I feel like we need to fire off the upstart here, try and find another knock. I think Gunshotti was also main decking Mind Con, so if you still are, also a good option there. We're going to go for the Tsukuyomi, though. I guess this play is fine, too, because now if the back row is torrential, like the Sangan is gone, so unless it's exactly Sinister Serpent, torrential actually isn't a threat here anymore. It's just going to be equal stuff. So I like going for this. I definitely like going for the Tsukuyomi play this turn before you deal with the set monster. Once again, I just still don't see a lot of reason to be holding the upstart, though. Torrential is going to come down, and this will clear the board. Yeah. So just nice little 2 for 2. I like the patience there from Gunshotti trying to bait out the torrential. Like I said, especially because you saw the set with Sangan, it makes the back row being torrential a lot more likely there, so well played. Surely now we play the Upstart Goblin, right? Yeah. And we draw into double Jar of Greed. So, and this is one of those other things, right? If you're on a deck that's running like multiple Jar of Greeds, it can be really good to just see those cards earlier so that you're not stuck with double Jar here and nothing to do. Like, you're basically -2 this turn before you've been able to activate these jars, where you could have, like, you know, not have this be as much of an issue if you just upstarted previously. So the play here is obviously just set double Jar pass. It's actually kind of nice because maybe it'll bait out the Heavy Storm. Your Mirror Force will die, but when you set Mirror Force into known Heavy, you're kind of saying, you know what, it's fine. And honestly, in the Turbo Mirror Force isn't that valuable anyway, so you can trade it for your opponent's Heavy Storm. It's actually totally fine, I feel like. And now Jay Harris here. I don't think we know anything in the hand besides the Heavy Storm at this point in time. Jay Harris here, probably just going to fire it off. Yeah, Chain Double Jar. Drawn to Second Knock and Faith. That's pretty nice. We haven't tested for any back row or for any set monster removal just yet, but we also didn't see any in Jay Harris's hand at the time that we dust shooted, so slightly unlikely. And they're going to go T-set pass. Yeah, so it feels like they definitely don't have knock here. We draw a dust shoot for turn, which is super duper dead. So I feel like the play is just going to be knock, set Faith. I don't think there's really a reason to bluff set the dust shoot here. I mean, I guess let's see if we get to main 1 first. Yeah, we make it to main phase 1 unscathed. So let's go set the Faith, activate Nobleman, and then I guess we can set the dust shoot to play around potential top decks there. I don't think we need... I mean, we could go for BLS right now, especially now that Torrential is gone. But we have knock. I feel like we're fine slow rolling the BLS. We're not really under too much pressure here. And there's stuff that you probably don't want to just like run it into right now. So yeah, I think I'm fine with just the Faith knock play and then reevaluate. Knocking the Dekoichi, that's pretty nice. Set Faith, pass, hold Dust Shoot in hand, I think is fine. The annoying thing would be if they top deck Trap Dust Shoot and take back our BLS, but then if they do that, we at least get to resolve our Faith, so it's probably not the end of the world. Actually, no, never mind. We do want to keep the Dust Shoot in hand here because Graceful is going to be our grab with the Faith, and we want to discard it. So I feel like having a card that you know you want to discard to the incoming Graceful Charity is a lot more valuable than the potential bluff set here. especially when we're at like nearly full life. So yeah, I like hold dust shoot in hand. J Harris top deck Pot of Greed. That's pretty nice. And then they are going to just pass turn. Okay, so didn't see anything super crazy, and now we could go and grab Magician of Faith for Graceful Charity. Oh, we're gonna go duo. Okay. Interesting. I mean, I guess we know. So, what are the things in Jay Harris's hand that they wouldn't play last turn? There's back row that they don't set to maybe play around. So they might have unchainable back row in hand. They might have Dead Chaos in hand. They might have like Tsukuyomi in hand. Maybe Sinister Serpent that they didn't set. This is a fine duo. I just feel like the Graceful is probably just as good. And you have stuff you actually want to be discarding here. And now it's like your Trap Dust Shoot is never going to be live because you're duoing away the 2 cards in hand. So I feel like Graceful is a little bit more synergistic with what our hand is exactly at this point in time. But I can also understand wanting to simplify the game state at a point in time where you have like BLS Ring and can maybe go for a game. So I guess if the play, yeah, I mean, I guess you don't really have much else going on this turn besides going for a BLS attack. So if that's all you're going to do, you could just fire off the duo here and hope they don't have answers to the BLS, right? However, is going for BLS right this second really the best thing? Like, you could Graceful see 3 new cards and you might have a play and be able to hold on to the BLS, and then... Because, like, if you duo here and you summon BLS and you run it into Mirror Force, for example, that's, like, really bad, right? Now, that is a 1 in, 30 chance or whatever that is Mirror Force. Or higher than that because we know it's a back row. But it is unlikely that it's Mirror Force. But I feel like it's kind of unnecessarily risking it potentially here. I think it's close, though. Duo's going to get fired off. You hit a Sork, yeah, Dead Chaos in hand makes sense. And then a Raigeki break that they're not going to set because they don't have anything to discard for it. Okay, yeah. So that is a nice little plus and advantage. And I feel like if you go for this play, because you have nothing else going on, you just need to go summon BLS. You're like committed to summoning BLS at this point and attacking in. We're just going to hit for 300. Yeah, okay. So I'm not a huge fan of this play because we don't really have anything going on. Yeah, I feel like the Graceful would have been a little bit better there. I don't think it's terrible. I think we're pretty far ahead regardless, so it's probably pretty marginal in terms of actual like impact to win rate. So I think gunshotti still almost definitely wins this game regardless of what they do that turn. But Graceful might have been a little bit better there. Drawn to Spy. Spy is pretty nice. It's probably just Faith to defense, set the Spy, pass. I think that makes sense to me. Yep, and at least now you have a threat that is not BLS. Jay Harris is going to knock the Spy, though, which is a little bit annoying. So I need to find another threat. Both players lose all 3 copies, and then Jay Harris fires off the upstart after thinning their deck. Cool. Finds Thunder Dragon. All right, so no play here. We know there's 2 dead Thunder Dragons in play or in hand, and I like to be aggressive when I know my opponent has dead Thunder Dragons in hand, right? So that's probably what we want to be doing here. Pot of Greed is an insane draw. Fire that off. We draw into Raigeki Break and Heavy Storm. Okay. Interesting. So we know there's 2 Thunder Dragons in hand. Do we just want to heavy clear out the back row, summon BLS attack? I feel like that's pretty good. We have Dust Shoot is actually pretty close to being live now that we know our opponent has 2 dead TDs in hand. Yeah, kind of like that. I mean, or we could even just set the Raigeki Break and use the Dust Shoot as discard fodder for it. I think that's fine. I think holding Snatch Seal now that our opponent has Chaos Live is pretty smart. So yeah, I kind of like just heavy and get aggressive. That seems like a good play here. I'm gonna just ping for 300 though. I guess that's fine. Yeah, and I feel like this is kind of what we were signing up for when we didn't grab Graceful and then also didn't summon the BLS. Now we're just like inviting Jay Harris to kind of draw back in, and now if they find like a Graceful or something, suddenly they're in a really, really good spot, or at least a lot better of a spot. Setting the Dust Shoot here now, means that we're almost never going to find a good time to use Heavy Storm, probably. Yeah, I feel like there's a little bit of a disconnect between some of the decisions being made so far this game. Or like if you wanted to play it slow, Graceful was probably the play. If you wanted to play it fast with the BLS, right? And now we get in this awkward position where we're playing it slow in a position where we just really don't have too much going on. I don't know, and it's giving Jay Harris opportunity to draw back into this game. Harris is going to draw for turn, though. Just going to draw past. Okay, so now at least our Dust Shoot is live, which is nice. We draw Sork for turn, too, which is maybe a little bit safer pressure. Like, maybe we're fine running out the Sork here. With the intention of, like, if it gets answered, we still have BLS as backup. Now, because we're almost definitely going to be able to use our Dust Shoot next turn, I kind of like taking a turn off and not going for a big play just yet, so that we can kind of see what we're working with once we resolve the shoot. So I feel like the play here is probably just pass turn. You can ping with Faith if you want. I don't think it really matters. Now we're going to go for the Sork, though. A little bit interesting. I feel like you waited this long, you might as well get your, get value from your Dust Shoot before you commit to stuff. The reason why I'm saying that is, like, Raigeki Break is definitely a potential back row here at this point in time. Especially because Jay Harris held one earlier, right? Makes me think that they needed something in hand to discard, potentially. And so now, if we give them something good to Raigeki Break, it means that it's less likely that they're going to stay beneath... Or it makes them more likely that they'll stay beneath 4 cards, and this Dust Shoot will continue to be dead. And we really want to use this Dust Shoot to get this Heavy Storm out of our hand at some point, or make it more likely to get this Heavy Storm out of our hand. So I feel like waiting a turn here is probably a little bit better, but this is what happens. And Jay Harris, okay, it is just ring set. Okay, so we are going to be able to use our Dust Shoot. So we don't get punished for going for this. Both players take 23, and it's actually pretty nice when we have BLS ring in hand. And like I said, like, at some point this is all just kind of splitting hairs, because gunshotti did resolve full Trinity plus Thunder Dragon this game, so any decision here is probably gonna lead to a win. So it's hard to say what's bad and what's good. I just think there could have been a little bit more synergistic decisions being made so far this game. Set Raigeki Break is, I guess, fine, and we're just committing to... Yeah, I guess if we just want to set up for game next turn, we can just Raigeki Break any potential annoying back row. So I like this set here. We can always just RB, discard, snatch or something, and then set up for BLS plus ring for game. And we'll have full knowledge because of the Dust Shoot. Fire this off. See what is in Jay Harris's hand. They drew BLS for turn. That's pretty nice. They also have Duo that they must have held. That's really interesting. Okay. I mean, maybe they had BLS. Maybe they just top deck Duo and they had BLS in hand that they just didn't want to play yet because we didn't commit anything to the board. Definitely setting BLS back here, though, of course. Now the annoying thing would be if they Duo and hit the BLS, but if they miss the BLS, we win. So basically, there's a 1/3 chance that this game is going to continue onwards. 2/3 chance that we just win on the spot. Let's see what this Duo hits. It hits the heavy, and we win. Cool. Good stuff. Yeah, draw Breaker. Breaker plus BLS is game. I mean, just play the Breaker, right? No need to get cute. Yeah, whatever. It's fine. Doesn't matter in the end. And gunshotti is going to take down game 1. Pretty solid stuff there. Had some really nice, opening TD Dust Shoot into the Graceful and then finding Pot and Duo later on is really good. They played it out pretty well from there, finding the threats to end the game relatively quickly. And that is going to be game 1. Now, we get to play a little bit of a mind game. If Jay Harris was aware that gunshotti was rocking the Warrior smokescreen, it's a little bit of will they, won't they mind games of is gunshotti prepared to do that again? Are they planning on doing it again? Makes it really difficult for Jay Harris to side accurately in this scenario, so gunshotti might be able to catch Jay Harris with some weird stuff post-side that they can exploit. So let's see exactly what they chose to bring in here. We'll probably know pretty early on if gunshotti is going for the smokescreen or not. See in their hand. Looks like pretty much standard Chaos Turbo here. Of course, I don't know exactly what cards they sided out for the Warrior smokescreen. These are all cards that you probably keep in if you're going into more of like a Chaos Warrior stuff, Chaos Warrior sort of list. MST post side against Turbo is not something you see every day, but does make sense if you're a little bit more of an aggressive list. Not a terrible hand. jharris opens pot though, which is pretty nice for them. Pot into TD, so they're already up a bunch of cards on us. And then they're going to go set a monster, set a couple back row pass. We draw Faith for turn, which isn't amazing with just the MST here. They do have the Dust Shoot as well. We'll likely see. Oh, we're going to chain MST to pop the other back row? Huh. Not entirely sure what the purpose of that is. Because it could just be a chainable. I mean, I get it's less likely to be a chainable because it got set alongside this Trap Dust Shoot, right? But I don't think there's really a huge need to go for the MST just this second, right? Like if it's another Dust Shoot, they chain it, and that's actually pretty catastrophic. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what this achieves, I guess. And it's just Jar of Greed, yeah. Not really sure what the point. It's not like it got you underneath 4 cards to make a second Dust Shoot worse. And now we're just going -1 for basically no reason, I feel like. It's back the Spy here as well. And now we're in a pretty bad spot at this point in time. I guess the play is just going to be set Faith, Jar, Ring, pass. Might as well. You could maybe not set the Faith if you're worried about mind control, which we know jharris is running. Especially as you don't have any, like, really amazing options. Yeah, so I can understand holding the Faith here just to make it not 100% likely that jharris knows what it is. We're just in such a bad spot right off the bat here, unfortunately. Set Raigeki Break is a little bit weird. I mean, it is mind games, right? Like, the obvious sets here are Jar, Ring. So setting Jar, Raigeki Break can keep the opponent off guard. And we're pretty far behind, so I don't hate the trickery, right? It was kind of a self-inflicted wound a little bit. But I can understand being tricky here, waiting to hold the Faith, etc., etc. Now, this could be pretty bad if our opponent held Duo. But if they have Duo, it's pretty much just GG anyway, so maybe it's not even worth playing around. jharris, though, gonna flip up this Takoichi, start pressuring us pretty bad. Take 14, they set another monster and a back row pass. We draw Kaiku for a turn, cool. So, gunshotti at least on the Kaiku's post side. I feel like your opponent knows a set is Jar of Greed, so you might as well just do it. I guess there is a world where you play around Dust Shoot here by not flipping the Jar just yet. So maybe you go normal Kaiku and then activate the Jar just to play around a potential Dust Shoot. I don't hate that. Yeah. Seems pretty good. Draw into another Kaiku. Okay, not bad. So we got the units here. And we're just going to go Kaiku beat over the Dakoichi. Feels like the plan. Try and get some damage through. Get to banish one of the Thunder Dragons, which isn't super duper amazing. But it does get their only light out of Grave for now. They can obviously get another one in with the second TD later on. But Kaiku at least is keeping jharris at bay for the time being. Now, I guess, do you want to set the ring? I feel like probably yes. Because Raigeki Break, you don't really want to be using right now. You don't have anything that you really want to be discarding. I guess you could discard the Faith to get a Light Engrave, but, like, it's not the most amazing thing. So I feel like you probably just want to set ring and then go from there. Just going to pass, though. Sure. I think it's marginal. I'd probably set ring, though. jharris is going to flip up Spy, go into attack position, so I don't think this Kaiku is going to be here any longer. And they have Tsukuyomi. Yeah, so Kaiku is dead no matter what here, I guess. Ring wouldn't have really prevented this. But if they did just have, like, another Kaiku or something, yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously, if it's, like, Breaker or something, you would want to ring that. Suka's going to kill the Kaiku, though. Both Spies get through, and now our hand is poised pretty poorly against what jharris is running at the moment in time. It's not like there's anything we can even play for with the Faith here, because there's no high-impact spells in Grave. Draw pot for a turn, though. Okay, so, speak of the devil, we now have a pot. We'll see if we get to main phase 1, though. No Dust Shoots. So we're just going to fire off the pot. Draw into Sangan's Serpent. So that's actually really good. Now we have something to pair with our Raigeki break, which is pretty nice. We have a Sangan to set to bait out stuff for our Magician of Faith. So I feel like the play has got to be set Sangan, set ring, pass. Feels pretty good to me right here. Yeah, and gunshotti agrees. I like this. You have something for your Raigeki break now. Might as well set ring when your opponent has a couple back row back there. And now Sangan can potentially bait because now we actually really want this Faith to resolve so we can grab pot and find our way back into this game. So pretty solid turn there for gunshotti. Pot agreed doing its thing. Jharris has breaker here, so we're just going to ring that immediately. Okay. All right, I guess, yeah, what is the downside to not... I guess if they do it on the Raigeki break, you just chain it and pop a back row, maybe? I feel like I would rather hold the Raigeki break here, so I would just ring. Like, I don't think there's a point in being super tricky here. They're going to ping one of the two, so why give them the choice? You know what I mean? Because like them hitting the Raigeki break is definitely worse than them hitting the ring. So you might as well just force them to hit the ring by activating it on the breaker summon. Doesn't get punished, of course, but I feel like that's probably a little bit more consistent of a play. Gunshotti's going to drop down to 26. We got Raigeki break on the Sangan, which is pretty nice for us. You probably grab Spy here. Spy seems pretty good. Just to wall out. We kind of are desperately in need of stabilization at this point in time. Yeah, gunshotti agrees. They're going to get in for 24 if we don't Raigeki break, though, which is a little bit unfortunate. Do you ring? Or, I mean, do you Raigeki break one of these spies? I feel like you're probably fine to just take the hits here. It's not like it reduces the clock super significantly, especially because we know there's Tsukuyomi in hand to like add like they're still passing with lethal being threatened, so Raigeki break doesn't really change the clock here at all. So I'd rather just hold the break. Yeah, gunshotti agrees. Draw down to 200, which is scary, but that's how she goes sometimes. Draw a do-over turn, which is a little bit unfortunate. I don't think it's worth using the Raigeki break in case you top deck duo though. That doesn't seem to really do anything, especially they have double TD in hand, so it's pretty unlikely you're going to get huge value at this point in time. Now I feel like you really just have to set Spy and Pray, unfortunately. That's kind of where we're at. We're going to go Raigeki break the back row. Hitting a... Interesting. We're going to hit Torrential. I mean, I guess in case it is a Raigeki break, a second Raigeki break, it's smart to do this now. If this was the plan, though, we should just be Raigeki breaking in standby phase, discarding the Serpent, and then getting one back. So then at least you have the duo to bluff set. I think that's actually a lot better here. I'm not sure why we would want to like hide the fact that we have Sinister. That doesn't seem super important to me. So yeah, I would have rather just discarded Sinister to the Raigeki break and set the Spy. We're gonna go Kaiku, so we just lose. We just forget. I guess did we just forget that Tsukuyomi was an end? I guess so. So this is a little bit unfortunate. I guess gunshotti just forgetting about that. And they're just gonna lose. A little bit unfortunate. Definitely misplay there. That is game 2 going to Jharris. Gunshotti on the back foot from quite early on. I think there were definitely some self-inflicted wounds there, though, with like the random MST chain and some of the weird decision-making later in the game. Definitely a really tough one, though. Jharris had a really, really solid opening with pot into T-drag, into dust shoot, etc. And we will go to game 3. It did not look like gunshotti was on the warrior smoke screen, but maybe that's something that they pack for game 3 surprises. So definitely potential to see that still here in game 3. Going first especially as well, it's probably a little bit better. Once again, looks like it's pretty standard turbo stuff, though. Opening hand is not super great. Pretty dead, honestly. I mean, what do you even do here? You activate the Thunder Dragon, because duh. I almost don't even want to set the Solemn, though. Yeah, this is just really, really, really unfortunate. Um, Solemn, if they have Breaker, is really, really bad, and there's nothing we really want to be Solemning at this point in time, so you probably just Thunder Dragon pass here, is my thought. This is a really, really bad opening hand. Definitely going to be on the back foot right out the gate, unless Jay Harris has an equally bad hand. Gunshotti is going to set the Solemn. I just don't feel like it's worth risking the Breaker, personally. Because, like, what are we really wanting to Solemn here? You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, are we going to Solemn Trinity? Probably not, right? It feels early to do that. And especially because all we have going on for us right now is playing to maybe resolve a Chaos Monster at some point. I'd want to make sure the Solemn sticks around long enough for us to use it to back up our Chaos, is kind of my thought there. Jay Harris has a Thunder Dragon of their own. Into Upstart, sure. Into T-set pass. All right. We draw Knock for turn, which is really nice. So now we actually have stuff to do, importantly. So it's just going to be Knock, set, Faith, pass. Faith grabbing Knock is pretty nice if Jay Harris just has another set monster. Oh, Dust Shoot's going to come through, though. Okay. Then they're going to send back the BLS. That makes sense. And then I still think you'd go for the same play. Knock. End up knocking the Spy. I guess at this point, because Jay Harris knows that you have Faith. But if they go Minecon the Faith, then grab Upstart, like, do we really care? Especially when we have another Faith. If they knock the Faith, that's good for us, because we have the second one. So I feel like you set Faith regardless here, even though Jay Harris knows exactly what it is, because they can't really punish it too much. You know what I mean? Unless there's, like, crazy, like, let's say top deck Trinity or something. But, you know, I'm not playing around that. Yeah, set Faith, I think, is definitely the play there. Jay Harris has Heavy Storm for the Solemn. Yeah, one of those things where it's more likely than not they're just going to pop it with something before we find a good chance to use it. At least now we don't have to worry about Heavy Storm, but it's not like we have a lot of back row in hand to really care about, right? Tribe is going to come down, attack into... I mean, I guess Tribe is a good way to play around the Knock. So Faith is going to hit the grave. We're going to grab the Knock, which is dead at the moment, but totally fine. Cycling that Faith is better than doing nothing. Jay Harris is going to set a back row pass. We draw second Knock for turn. Not amazing. Is it just... It's probably just pass here. With Heavy Storm gone, I could also see Bluff set Knock pass. It's not really the most amazing thing you'll ever see. But I also don't hate it. Like, I feel like there are worse times to Bluff set Knock than exactly this moment. So I can understand going for it. Double Bluff set Knock is a little bit suspicious. Right? Especially because they know that one of them is Knock. Not enough turns have passed since the Dust Shoot for them to not know that one of these is Knock. Whereas if you just set one, there's a chance it's not, right? And there's no, like, they're both bluffs, so it's not like you're playing around MST by setting both of them, right? So kind of interesting. Yeah, it doesn't really matter too much, I don't think, but it's just kind of silly to me to bluff set things when your opponent knows that it's air, right? Get in for 16, sure. Draw Heavy Storm for turn. It also makes your future Heavy Storms worse when you bluff set a bunch of things, right? Just gonna pass here once again. Pro set Heavy is fine, I guess. I mean, there is value in that. Like, you basically just your opponent checked for like Saku or whatever last turn, so maybe this one's the Mirror Force. I feel like this is a lot of bluff setting for very little gain, though. I mean, Heavy Storm is gone, so it's less risky, but there's still Breaker, there's still MST, there's still Raigeki breaks. And these are all cards that will definitely be valuable at some point against this deck, probably. Maybe not the Heavy Storm, but that's kind of the issue with... If you know you like to bluff set stuff, why are you even keeping in Heavy Storm post-side against Chaos Turbo, I guess is the question. It can be good to set up for the Kaikus and stuff, but especially when you're running Solemn in your deck, and you're going to be setting your back row a bunch, I feel like keeping in the Heavy is a little dubious. Jay Harris has Normal summon Faith? Oh, because we're playing around Knock. They must have Tsukuyomi in hand. That's basically the tell there. Sure, I think that's fine. We draw Upstart for turn. Definitely fire that off. Draw into Solemn here, which is fine. I guess it's just set Faith, set Solemn now. Feels like the play. I don't see a reason to not set the Solemn at this point in time. Especially if we're setting it turn 1, right? I guess, are we worried about Sook, grab heavy, wipe out our back row? In that case, we definitely want to Solemn that. And we can just Solemn the Faith flip summon, is kind of the important option there, right? So that way it breaks up the Sook loop and gets rid of the heavy. So I feel like, yeah, if jharris goes for that, we're kind of in a really bad spot, right? So I feel like we want to set the Solemn here to prevent that. Suit does come down, as expected. They grab Heavy Storm, clear out everything. All of our bluff sets look really bad now. Interesting. Once again, kind of another unforced error there. Or at least one that could have been mitigated if you just had the Solemn for the Magician of Faith flip summon, right? Suit can go kill our Faith. What do you grab here? I mean, they just Heavy Stormed. It's pretty unlikely that they have a lot of valuable back row at this point in time. We know... I mean, now both of our knocks are gone. But if we grab knock, they'll just never play into it. So I feel like we're just kind of forced to grab upstart here. It's just not a very good position at this point in time. It hit for 16, 19, sure. Drop down to 36. All right. How are we going to get ourselves out of this? Okay, Kaiku is kind of a good draw. It dies to the Sook. But we could Solemn it if we really wanted to. Definitely fire off the upstart here, though. Ooh, Breaker is pretty nice as well. Both things that die to Tsukuyomi. But that gets a Dark Engrave, so it's actually not the end of the world. So it's probably just normal Kaiku, kill the tribe. Or... they still have the Sook loop with the Faith, though. That's really annoying, because we can't do both at the same time. Oh, you know what the play is? It's going to be... or no, that doesn't work. I was really excited. I was like, okay, we could break or crash with the tribe, but no, we have 1900. It would be a 1900 breaker, right? If they had a back row, that would be a really good play. Breaker, pop the back row, crash, summon BLS, or summon Sork, main phase 2, banish the Faith would be an insane play. But unfortunately, we can't do that. Is there a world where you breaker your own Solemn to go for that play? Because, like, whatever you summon is going to die to the Tsukuyomi anyway. And unless the play is Kaiku... maybe, yeah, that's probably too cute. Right, but I feel like we're kind of forced to Solemn the Tsukuyomi. Well, so if they Tsukuyomi our Dark Monster and kill it, that's actually good because we get Sork Engrave. And then that means that they didn't Tsukuyomi the Faith that turn, which is pretty good. And if they do Tsukuyomi the Faith and grab Heavy or something to clear out the Solemn, then that means that they didn't kill our Kaiku. So maybe the play is just Kaiku, kill the tribe, set Solemn, pass, and then let Sook kill the Kaiku to get a Dark Engrave. And then we can banish the Faith. And then have Breaker normal summon next turn as well. That's probably the play. It's really awkward, but I feel like that's probably the best thing that can happen here. Snatch Steal is catastrophic, but I feel like we're beyond the point of playing around that, unfortunately. And yeah, I think the Kaiku play is probably the best thing to do here. Yeah, Kaiku kill tribe. Gunshotti agrees. I think, as awkward as this is, I think this makes the most sense. Set Solemn pass, and I think you let them kill the Kaiku with the Sook. Oh, they're just going to go crash Kaikus? That's interesting. Why wouldn't they just get the free +1? Now do you Solemn the... no, because you want the Dark Engrave. There's no point in Solemning this. Get the Dark Engrave, you have the Solemn to back up your Sork. Yep. And they have no back row, okay? We draw Dekoichi for turn. So now, is it just going to be... I mean, Banishing the Faith is really good because that's their light. And they seem pretty brick. They seem at least monster. I mean, we know the hand is double TD Sook at the very least. They haven't been playing any back row. So they probably have either other normal summons or Dead Chaos in hand. So now's a good time. Like, Banishing this light is huge. And then we probably set the Dekoichi pass after that. Yeah, it's going to be Summon Sork in defense, Sork Banish Faith, set Dekoichi pass. I think that's really good. Gunshotti agrees, most likely. I don't think we want... Yeah, no need to go for the breaker offensive here. I don't think that really does anything. Especially because it'll just die to the Sook, right? Jharris. Ooh, Graceful here. Do we Solemn the Graceful? I feel like yes. I feel like we have to Solemn here. Because we do not want them to get... Well, no. Oh, sorry. No, never mind. So they have double TD in hand. So they can get a Light Engrave whenever they want. So actually banishing there is not the end of the world. But I guess we know their hand is super bricked. Right? We know double TD Sook. Graceful was the top deck for the turn as well, which is important. Because there's no way they don't fire off the Graceful before. So I feel like we have to Solemn this, because if they get 3 new cards and answer our Sork, we're in a really bad spot. I feel like you Solemn this. Yeah. Yeah, I like the Solemn. Nice play there from gunshotti. They're still going to go for Chaos, which is annoying, but I feel like that was worth Solemning for sure. And now they at least, like, this isn't a pure +1 because I had to discard the TD to get a Light Engrave. Right, and now they don't have any other Chaos active for quite some time. Sook coming down there is fine. They're going to kill our Dekoichi. That'll cycle. And we draw Pot. That's really nice. Yeah. So I think Solemning the Graceful is obviously really risky, right? But because we know they have double TD in hand, and everything pointed to them being bricked for a while there, I feel like it makes sense to go for it. And especially because it means that they don't get a Light Engrave for free. So that Sork came with a cost. Yeah, we just got lucky by Sook drawing into Pot. Or Sook killing the Dekoichi drawing into Pot. But I feel like that's still probably the play, because there's no guarantee. Like, there's a good chance they have Chaos in hand that they can just summon by discarding a Thunder Dragon. But ideally, like, a single Sorg isn't that hard to deal with, and I'm worried about the 3 cards that they'll draw off the Graceful to unbrick their hand completely. You know what I mean? The 3 fresh cards. Minecon is insane as well, so we're going to go Pot into Kaiku. That's really good. So now we can just go Minecon, Sork banish itself, normal Kaiku, get in for 18, probably. It does die to Tsukuyomi, though, which is a little bit annoying. Yeah, maybe do we not do that? Well, if they go for Sook, at least they're not dealing damage to us, is the idea. Yeah, the Kaiku hit actually doesn't do that much though. Right. I mean, we're definitely mind conning the Sork. But maybe it's just set Sinister after that, and then if at some point we can tribute summon for a Thunder Dragon and get a Sook-proof threat on the board, that's actually really good. So maybe it's Minecon the Sork and then set Sinister Pass and set it for Thunder Dragon. That's probably the play. I don't like just running stuff into the Tsukuyomi. That just seems kind of bad. Yeah, and gunshotti goes for that. I think that's the right play. Harris goes T-set pass. Okay, we draw into BLS, which is insane. So it's going to be Breaker, pop the back row, BLS, banish the set, attack in for 16. Pretty straightforward turn here. Pretty insane sequence of top decks, by the way, with the Pot into the Minecon into the BLS, but, you know, Chaos Turbo has good cards in the deck, right? I'm sure you're really thinking about this. I don't think you really need to be, though. Are we thinking... No, I feel like you just need to clear out the back row. Right, there's, like, no reason not to. We're just going to set Kaiku pass? Huh. What does this do? What are we worried? So we know that in the hand is a Thunder Dragon and a Tsukuyomi, unless the set is the Tsukuyomi. But we can just banish whatever it is. And they're not going to be setting Suk here to protect their life points when they're at 9,800. So we know the hand is pretty much always going to be Suk. So I feel like you really want to be banishing the set monster because it could be Faith, right? Faith is still alive. Spy, well, it can't be Spy. But it could be Faith. Tokoichi would be good to banish. Night Assailant would be good to banish. Sinister, Sangan, all stuff that's good to banish. I don't know what we're playing around here, honestly. Is it Torrential? That's assuming Jay Harris even has Torrential in post siding in the mirror, which seems unlikely. Well, no, but no, the breaker plays around Torrential. Are we worried about Snatch Steal? But they're not going to be bluff setting their Snatch Steal though. And if they don't have Snatch Steal, then like Flip Faith, grab Graceful, draw 3 new cards is pretty bad as well. Yeah, so I don't really see the reason why we wouldn't just go for Summon BLS here. I think we're beyond the point of playing around stuff like Snatch Steal, right? Both of the Solemns are gone. I never saw gunshotti run a third one at any point, so it's not like you're probably waiting to like draw one to back up your BLS or something. Yeah, I feel like this is an odd decision here. I mean, I guess, is it to bait out a Mindcon? We didn't know that they had Mindcon, though, at any point, right? I mean, it's nice that we baited out a Mindcon. I feel like that's a pretty low value play in general, though. Because they might not have, like, we haven't seen a Mindcon or a knock. It's just as likely that they have a knock as they have a Mindcon, right? It works. They flip Night Assailant, and yeah, so they just used all of their cards for basically nothing here. Now we know the set is Night Assailant. They get in for 11, though. Yeah, and even if they go... Yeah, like, even if they go Mindcon, banish the Sork, or Mindcon, banish BLS, Suk, kill the Breaker, we'll still have the Sinister to tribute summon for Thunder Dragon next turn, and it's, like, totally fine, right? And we would have the Kaiku in hand as well, if we wanted to go for that play. Yeah, so I just don't see what this really accomplished. Thankfully, Jay Harris just wasted all of their cards, but I feel like it's not worth trying to bait out a Mindcon there. It just seemed really unlikely that that's what they would have. I guess, no, we know, because Tsukuyomi was in hand, we know that they just top deck Mindcon for a turn. So playing around top deck Mindcon there just seems really bad. Draw Dust Shoot for turn, that is fine, I guess. Surely now we go for the Breaker, summon BLS, because now we can attack him with the Kaiku as well, right? Yeah, Breaker popped the back row. It is Mirror Force, so yeah, Breaker would have been pretty good last turn too. Flip summon Kaiku, summon BLS. BLS banish the set. Yeah, I guess defense position doesn't really matter here. Yeah, I don't think the position really matters at all. So defense position is fine. Get in for a bunch of damage, banish the tribe. Sure. This is pretty nice. And then we're going to set the Dust Shoot pass, of course. Jay Harris has the Suk to set down the BLS. Okay, and then they knock it. Interesting. Okay, so they top decked Mindcon and then top decked knock. So once again, we know the hand is TD Suk. So slowly they'll whittle away our board. But I think at least we can go tribute someone for Thunder Dragon at some point if we really want to. MST is fine. It's just gonna be attack with both of these guys. Set Sinister Pass is the play. Dealing a lot more damage than this Suk can remove from the board every time. Yeah, set MST, of course, as well. What's the play? Jay Harris has to respect tribute for... Yeah, Suk, kill a monster, is now no longer good enough to prevent lethal, because Thunder Dragon tribute on the crackback is available. They're just going to go for it, though. And then have a back row, but that's just going to get popped at the MST. And that is GG with this Thunder Dragon coming down. And gunshotti is going to take it down 2-1. In this Chaos Turbo Mirror, we didn't get to see any of their spicy warrior side deck shenanigans, but just solidly played out a Chaos Turbo Mirror here, grinding it out a win game. Here in game 3, I do overall think they played it quite well. Definitely some things that I would have done differently at certain points, but it all resulted in a dub, so I can't really complain too much, can I? Definitely let me know if you guys would have done anything different down in the comments. I think there were a lot of really interesting decision points in all 3 games here. But at the end of the day, Gunshotti here is going to remain undefeated, going 4-0 through 5 weeks of War League. Jay Harris will drop down to 3-2. Pretty big ramifications for both of their teams here as well, because they were both in the top seats of the matchups for the week. Hope you guys enjoyed another edition of War League Wednesdays. Like I said, let me know what you think in the comments. I will catch you all next time.